Now let's look at the complete opposite situation. What to do when it is your partner who cares much more about you than about him, and shows it in such a very negative way. He shows you a lot of jealousy, resents the fact that you don't spend enough time with him, that you don't show him as much interest as he would like, and because of this, he gets offended at you. So this is the exact opposite of what we talked about earlier. It is now your partner in this situation who is breaking the balance of commitment to his disadvantage. And as you probably already feel it, you start to care less about him. If you have just such a problem and are watching this video, I assume you still care. Probably these behaviors bother you and your partner, and you would like to stop them. Well, now the question is, how can you help your partner not to make these mistakes? The most important thing is to understand that he is not in full control. Even if you tell him that these are mistakes, and even if he understands how this balance of commitment works, it won't necessarily be enough for him. It's not so easy to implement it immediately. If you don't want to split up and just want to help him to become equally involved in the relationship with you, then you should first of all make sure that he feels really safe. Don't punish him with coldness the moment he shows you interest in such a negative way. This can be very repulsive to you, and you feel that your partner is offended because you don't want to talk to him. You are annoyed that he is offended about some triviality that you didn't even pay attention to. You feel overwhelmed by the fact that he resents that you go out somewhere without him, at a time when you feel like it, when you need to spend some time alone with yourself or with some of your friends. In such a situation too, such an automatic reaction can be born, which is a bit aggressive on such a principle of, get over yourself and give me a break, I need space, instead of showing the kind of warmth to your partner that he needs most at such a moment. When you give a lot more warmth from yourself, that sense of security, even in a situation where your partner reacts negatively, the less such situations will happen, because then you stop this vicious cycle. Just like in a situation where you are the one who hypothetically breaks the balance of commitment to your detriment, and you have to be on your guard every time you receive a lack of interest, to also show a lack of interest. In the same way, in this situation, it's worth making sure that every time you get signs of interest from your partner, even one that's a little toxic, it's best to focus on showing your partner interest too, for your part. Not lack of interest, which is such an automatic reaction, but just interest, and in the most positive, kind, and warm way possible. The key in all this is to see there a man who is hurt, who loves you very much, who wants very much to spend time with you, who wants to have you best just for himself. Even if he's a little possessive about it, it all stems from such great love for you, and this man can't handle it. This is the inability to deal with these emotions, this feeling of being spurned, this feeling of not getting what he wants, which is your love. So if you perceive such a poor, hurt person, whom, after all, you love all the time, for whom, after all, you want the best all the time, it will be much easier to stop this negativity. And despite the initial negativity on the part of your partner, you should react with warmth in such a positive, assuring way. If you feel that your partner is showing you a lot of jealousy, then the most important thing is to calm him down and assure him that nothing is going on, that you don't need this jealousy. You assure him that you are faithful to him, that you can somehow prove it to him, that he can call you when he is afraid, when you are away somewhere, and something happens there. This kind of allowing your partner to call you, to let you call yourself at a time when he feels such jealousy, can be very positive. He will feel that he has a little more control, and all those anxieties he has about it will definitely be less. It's really worth implementing this into your relationship, especially if you really have nothing to hide. Now let's take a look at such specific negative behaviors that may be occurring on your partner's part and discuss how to deal with them. How to stop this vicious cycle and help your partner not to make such mistakes again and to strengthen your commitment to the relationship. The first such common mistake, which occurs when there is a broken balance of feelings to your partner's disadvantage, is to show jealousy in situations that normally would most likely not happen. You, for example, wouldn't even mention it, and your partner, because of the fact that he feels he is losing you, feels such fears, often completely imagined. He may have some accusation against you that does not have the slightest place in any reality. You are even surprised that he could think of such a thing. Of course, it is worth delineating such a situation, where this jealousy is already morbid. There is such a thing as Othello syndrome. This qualifies under mental illness, and then it is worth seeking some professional support. In this course, I talk about such jealousy still within the limits of normal. If you feel that it is already very bad, it is already really qualified as some kind of mental illness, then try to help your partner and refer him for some treatment. On the other hand, if it's still in some limit of normal, then follow this advice I'll give you in a moment. The most important of these pieces of advice is to give your partner support and just see him as someone suffering who needs your help. Give him this help. The moment you hear an accusation, even in such a negative tone, help him. It is very important to stop this negative reaction that may be born in you and give your partner as much support and love as possible. Even if you hear some harsh words about you, but even then, see this suffering man and say something to him along the lines of, "Honey, I see that you are suffering. I'd be happy to talk to you about it, but calmly please." If he doesn't calm down, then sometimes it's a good idea to end the conversation. On the other hand, if it's a calm enough tone, one that you feel what you say can reach your partner, then do your best. Show that you want to continue to build a relationship with him, that nothing has happened, and that you are open to helping him deal with this feeling that is brewing inside him. Give him some kind of proof, such as letting him call you, or that you call him when you are somewhere on some outing you are returning from late, or you are around some person he is jealous of, then you can contact him. Such declarations on your part, where you show that you really have nothing to hide, that you want to help your partner, but also talking even about the fact that you love your partner, that you want to share a future together with him, that nothing has changed in terms of how you look at him and want to help him as much as possible to cope with this feeling that he has somewhere inside him, is precisely the best way to make this jealousy go away. If you show his negative display of interest toward you, with your lack of interest with some door slamming, some negativity on your side, he will also perceive this as a lack of interest, and will interpret such behavior all the more as an attempt to hide something from you. Sometimes he may self-reflect after some time, and sometimes not, and it will only get worse. He will push you away from you even more and get even more wrapped up in this jealousy of his. On the other hand, if you do it in such a nice, polite way and show him that you're committed, you'll have a much better chance that this vicious cycle will be stopped and this jealousy will gradually appear less and less, and maybe even disappear after some time, especially in a situation where your partner will see that you're committed and that you want to invest more in this relationship. A good thing to do after such an attack of jealousy, once you assure your partner that you want to be with him, is to point out that showing jealousy in such a negative way is a very bad approach, that it would be good for him to talk to you calmly about his fears, that he feels jealous, then it will be much easier for you to stay calm and help your partner deal with this negative feeling. The moment your partner's attitude is negative, then it may happen that you react in a way that you don't fully control, and there may be some kind of argument and hostility. So it's worth saying something like, "Listen, honey, if you feel that you are jealous, if it is some such small thing, then try to deal with it yourself and don't come to me with it right away. It may just so happen that you yourself will immediately recognize that it is stupidity. On the other hand, if something gnaws at you harder, then okay. There is no problem at all. Come and tell me about what you are afraid of and what you imagine. Let's talk about it. I want to help you as much as possible with this. Just, let's do it quietly, please." Each time such an outburst occurs, however, there should be a return to these negotiations on the principle of, "Okay, I want to help you. I want to respond as best I can, in the nicest and warmest way possible, but it won't always work out for me. If you are also in such a negative way, then I will understand. It's not easy, but let's both try our best to come out of it, to make as few mistakes as possible." By establishing these two principles, that is, on the one hand, you try to be as warm and loving and supportive as possible regardless of whether your partner is positive or negative, and on the other hand, your partner tries to be as positive as possible regardless of how strong feelings of jealousy arise in him. By applying these two principles, you will be able to deal with this jealousy of your partner much more easily, and it should get better and better from week to week. At this point, I would still like to discuss the topic of your partner checking his phone. That is, he feels jealous and somewhere secretly takes your phone or perhaps hacks into your computer to check some Facebook conversations and accuses you of doing something wrong. This issue is quite controversial, and you have to find a certain balance between assuring your partner that nothing is going on there with you and the kind of privacy of your own that you feel you wouldn't want to share with your partner. Let's assume that nothing is going on at your place and you have nothing to hide. If this is the case and you really want to hide something from your partner because you like someone else, you hope for a better relationship, and you are flirting with someone or even already having an affair with someone, at the same time you don't want to show your partner that there is something going on there, then this course doesn't make much sense for you because you should nevertheless decide on something so as not to hurt one person or yourself with some false hopes. Choose one person. If you choose your partner, cut yourself off from that person. Don't admit this to your partner, as this could have a very negative effect on your relationship, especially since most often partners would prefer never to find out. Just commit to one relationship. If you don't want to get involved in the old relationship with your partner but only in this new one, then break up with your partner and you won't have to hide anything from anyone either. Assuming you have nothing to hide and you let your partner peek into your phone to check your messages just to reassure him and you don't have any major problem with it, then let him do it. Give him access to your phone or computer. You can even give him a password just so he can see that you have nothing to hide from him. The worst is if your phone is encrypted with some kind of PIN that your partner doesn't know. In such a situation, your partner has to somehow sneak around and scheme to look into that phone, which will further arouse some of his suspicions. The more open you are with your partner, showing that you have nothing to hide, the better. It is a matter of reconciling what you are able to show your partner, what you think will be right and wrong. It's best not to shy away from showing your partner, especially in such a critical situation, that you have nothing to hide, that he can read your messages, because you are not flirting with anyone. This can give him a kind of reassurance. On the other hand, if such a situation continues and he regularly checks his phone from month to month, well, something like this can already be fought. This doesn't mean that you have to lock the phone with a pin, but you can tell your partner, "Listen, I'm a little worried about the fact that you're approaching it this way. Maybe we should consult with some psychologist. Maybe you feel threatened for some reason. Tell me how I can help you with this, because I'm a little uncomfortable with the fact that you're reading absolutely everything I have on my phone and I don't have that privacy quite so much." Such a one-time sacrifice of a little of your privacy to prove to your partner that nothing is going on with you is acceptable, but if this were to continue in the long run, it might be worth doing something about it. But that's up to you to decide in this case. Another common such negative behavior that can appear in your partner in such a situation of broken balance of feelings to his detriment are resentments about your lack of interest. That is, about your lack of time for him, about not writing back, not calling, canceling meetings, that you always finish first conversations, and so on. So, when there are such negative resentments on the part of your partner, here are again 2 rules. The first rule is that you should focus on responding as positively and calmly as possible to this negative display of interest by your partner. That is, your partner is negative, and you are calm, but you show a lot of warmth. "I understand that it hurts you. I understand that you may be frustrated. I'm sorry you didn't let me know sooner. I apologize to you for forgetting to write back." You generally ease the situation. You can say, "Honey, I love you. I can see that you feel anxious about all this, but there is no need. I really have warmth in my heart all the time. I just have some things of my own to do and need some space for myself." Generally, you give as much warmth as you can. If you have an explanation, present it, of course. Show your partner why you couldn't meet at the moment. You don't necessarily have to make something up if something isn't true, but certainly don't leave it in such an understatement. Just let your partner know that you care all the time. Even if you forgot something, just apologize. That is, such calmness, humility, and a lot of warmth in such a situation is very important. Once you have assured your ex-partner that you care about him, you should talk about your feelings about how you react to such negative behavior on his part, and how the resentments that came from your partner's side affect you. You show how you would like him to behave in the future. This can sound along the lines of, "Listen, honey, I feel bad at the moment when you accuse me of not writing you back a message or not wanting to meet with you because I had a meeting with colleagues. I understand that you feel frustrated by this. I know that these are big emotions and it's hard for you to deal with it. On the other hand, can I ask you that when you have such emotions, first try to deal with them yourself. Try to cool down. Take some time to think about whether it's really because I don't love you, or maybe because of some other things. If you can't handle it, then try to calmly tell me about it. Preferably in person, when we see each other, when I have a chance to hug you then, to kiss you, to show you that I actually care about you all the time." Paying attention each time in this way so that you don't leave it without any reaction, but assertively approach such negative behavior on your partner's part will give you a much better chance of eliminating such behavior in the future. So here you are acting on two levels, the logical level and the emotional level. On the emotional level, there is warmth and a sense of security. You show that you care all the time, even if other actions may indicate otherwise, such as the fact that you have forgotten your partner. And at the same time, on this logical side, you show your partner what behavior will work much better for your relationship. The same is true of taking offense, that is, when your partner takes offense at the fact that you didn't have much time for him. Evidently, he shows that he is not in a good mood, suddenly doesn't want to talk, feels so hurt, closes himself off because you didn't give him as much attention as he would have liked. In such a situation, it is worthwhile at the very beginning to soften the atmosphere as much as possible, give as much warmth as possible, apologize for it, and see what result it brings. If you manage to talk to your partner calming the nervous atmosphere, then also talk to him afterwards about the fact that it is not worth getting offended, that it's definitely better to calmly speak directly about it than to shut up for a few hours. On the other hand, if such an attempt to show remorse does not help, then do nothing by force, take care of yourself, and let this time pass. Maybe your partner will return on his own. If not, then after a few hours you can once again attempt some kind of conversation. You don't necessarily need another apology. Continue to be warm, give as much positive energy as possible, and show that you are open to dialogue so that your partner is also much more willing to open up to you. Don't pressure your partner. Just be somewhere next to him so that he feels safe, so that he is able to unlock as soon as possible. When he does unlock, be sure to bring up the subject that such behavior as taking offense is not the best way out. It is definitely better to calmly explain what he has a grievance about and resolve it like grown-ups, instead of insulting each other immaturely. In all this, it is very important not to give in under pressure from your partner. If your partner sees that he is able to influence your behavior with such negative behaviors, such behaviors on his side may occur even more often. For example, if you want to go out with your friends somewhere on the town at a time when your partner then has a free evening and resents you, and you succumb to him and say, "Well, I don't want to sit at home with you, but if you have to be offended and angry, then I'll stay." Then you reinforce his behavior with such a thing. It is definitely better in such a situation to do what you want to do, at the same time showing your partner as much warmth as possible, and also referring to his behavior. Telling him something like, "Honey, I love you the strongest in the world. I really want to be with you. I like spending time with you. And so I only spend time with you every day, and with my friends I only have the opportunity to meet once a week. I don't want to close myself only to you. I also want to have other people in my life, friends, acquaintances, some other form of entertainment, than just sitting with you. I hope you can understand this, because this is very important to me, and this is one of such very important needs of mine." You can also refer later to the fact that you are sorry that he is trying to change your behavior in this way, showing that on the one hand you know it is difficult for him, but on the other hand there are definitely better ways to deal with these emotions, and it would be better if he told you about it. You won't change your mind anyway, because you are a free man who wants to fulfill his needs, not leave everything and close yourself off exclusively to your partner. Nevertheless, it will be much easier to talk about it then. If you honestly tell each other what you feel, what emotions are there, and nevertheless do your own thing, don't let yourself be manipulated, but assertively do what you plan to do, then your partner will see after a while that insults and resentment have no effect on you, but only push you further and further away from him. It will be much easier to control such things this way, compared to if you nevertheless gave in to your partner and gave up on some of your plans in favor of him getting offended or showing his negative behavior in some other way. I invite you to the next section. If you liked the material, leave a like and send it to a friend or someone close to you who may benefit from this knowledge. If you want to support our work and help us create more valuable videos, there is a link in the description.